Good morning, my friends. I welcome you to a thought in the Word of God. Hey, if it's the Word of God, it's worth thinking about, right? Okay. Judgment, mercy. As we're traveling through the book of James, there's a lot to be thought of here in chapter 2, but I just want to talk to you just a minute about verse 13 because we got 10 minutes in these things that we do here. And I want to talk to you about the 13th verse. You read it yourself and see. But it's small, but it's important for your whole Christian walk. And yeah, it'll make you free. It says this: For he shall have judgment without mercy that has showed no mercy, and mercy triumphs over judgment. I've heard this quoted for years and years, and everybody just says mercy triumphs over judgment. They never deal with the first part of the verse. And it's important because this is where the rubber meets the road. It says, For he shall have judgment without mercy. Okay? Without mercy. That has showed no mercy. Now, what does that say to you? Yeah. And that's pretty sobering for us who need so much mercy, right? And I'll tell you that in this right here, the way we treat others really doesn't reveal whether we understand the mercy of God or not. Yeah. It's the respect and the grace that we show others that reveals whether we know anything about mercy or not. Sometimes people aren't schooled in mercy, you might say, or maybe they started young and they don't feel like they had to have much mercy, and they don't understand the depth of the sin. But this is clear to me, my friends. I hope it's clear to you so that you can walk out your Christian life in liberty. If you understand that mercy will be what over you, if you showed a lot of it, that you'll get a lot of it. If you showed no mercy, oh my goodness sakes, God will show less to you. But it says this right here. This is a sober warning, I think. Yeah. Those, I think, that have a merciful heart, they invite mercy into their judgment, right? And I think we do that with others. And this doesn't exactly deal with the losing of our salvation. I'm not talking about this kind of thing. I'm talking about the way we treat others. See, the royal law is that we would love people. Yeah. And that we would show love toward people. But if we show judgment toward people, and I mean all people. Now, if you're doing things in God, you're making mistakes. Because only people who do things make mistakes. The people who don't ever do anything, really, they don't ever make any mistakes. People who do things, they make mistakes. Hey, the older you get, the more you make, too. Okay, I wanted to say something about this. Our accountability toward God. If you're going to stand before God, don't you want to stand before God with the accountability that you've showed mercy to other people, you showed grace to other people, you give them a chance to grow in the Lord. You had to give them a chance to make mistakes. I think this is a good representation of who we are. If we understand how good God is, and how nice God is, and how merciful God is, we're able to pass this mercy on. But if we stand in judgment, okay, of every single thing, we set ourselves high and above. Yeah. Does that mean you let everybody have a pass? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you might notice that God's not doing nothing about it, right? Yeah. So what about us? We're going to take judgment into our own hands and draw people into court and show no mercy for people who have made mistakes? Yeah. Okay. You go ahead right ahead if you want to, but I don't want to appear before God with that. A critical spirit often exposes our heart that it has not been touched by grace. Mm-hmm. If we haven't received grace, we can extend grace. If we haven't received our mercy, it's hard to to extend mercy. But if you have, it's easy. And this is the good news, my friends, that the same grace and mercy God has showed you, you can show others. That's important to me, that people would show mercy. It's important to God that people would show mercy. Because if you do, it'll triumph over your judgment. Because with the same degree that you have shown your mercy, the same degree will be paid back to you. If you're a merciful, kind, loving person, then that comes back to you. If you're a judgmental, critical, condemning person, those things also come back. So we don't want to be found there. So start, if you're young in the Lord and you're starting to walk out, start it off in freedom. Start it out in mercy. Start it out with grace and be thankful to God and extend that to others. If you do that, my friends, if you show mercy, okay, with grace to other people, you will be happy the rest of your Christian life. So mercy, my friends, it rejoices in the judgment. Okay, this triumphs in the judgment that we're talking about. It overcomes. Mercy doesn't just deny justice. Okay, it overcomes it, and that's the thing. Judgment always comes to everybody, everything. We all have to stand before God and give an account for the things we haven't asked Him forgiveness for. So I would say that since this mercy that is extended to us triumphs over the judgment, I say, my friends, let us be merciful people and not let any critical thing come out of our mouth. Because I'm sure that if we act like that, we'll be acting like God. Okay, what does it do? I put down some things on it. Judgment exposes the heart and withholds mercy. It comes from a person that feels like that. And I'm not sure what's gone into a person's life where you can't find grace or mercy, okay, or that you can extend mercy or grace, that you always got to be judgmental and measure yourself one with another and always measure people with people. And then, judgment just belongs to God. And as we begin to function in that, we begin to see things very much more clearly. We begin to see things like God, giving people grace to grow, grace to do things and make mistakes, grace. That's what's been given to each one of us. My friends, to just be a know-it-all, to be a do-it-all, it's a dead-end street with so many failures that will bring you into condemnation and guilt where you don't want to do nothing. And by looking at people all the time and looking at their shortcomings will put you in a place where you're not going to be serving God anymore. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not by grace. You'll be over there in the judgment part. And that's a terrible place to live, is in judgment. Let's leave judgment to God. Okay? He's the one this church belongs to. He's the one, my friends, that'll bring the proper understanding to judgment, because he sees the depths of our heart. He sees the situation we've been in. He sees the problems that's come across our lives, maybe our homes and what's associated with us. He sees the real reason we make decisions like we do and things like that. Show grace, my friends. Show mercy, and that will be extended to you, right? And then you can say the last part of this with all confidence. Mercy is going to triumph over my judgment. This is good news, my friends. This is the good news that helps you go from one day to the next day in the middle of your failures and my failures. Because there is failures to life. You find them when you'd like to do it and you don't do it. And you want to do something, then you don't. And things you don't want to do, that what you do, It's a terrible place to be in. But God is faithful. That all along the way, as you're growing in Him, He will give you grace in these parts and show mercy to you so that you can make it. That's what God does. You don't slap your kids down the first time they fall down when they're trying to walk, right? I don't know why we think we're any better than God. And hey, even people in authority, they're going to make mistakes, my friends. They're going to make some big mistakes because they're doing things. People who do things in God make mistakes. That's the human part. So have grace today to everybody in the kingdom that you can extend grace to. Show mercy, my friends, as far as it's extended to you. And don't sit in the judgment seat. It's a terrible place to be in. Okay, if I commuted that today, you look for yourself and see what it says and see what I might say to you. And if this speaks to you, walk in it. Okay, that's enough for me today. God bless.